Hi, welcome to everyone. My name is Michelle. I am the CEO of Unbreakable Faith, and what our organization does is help out youth and young adults that have been sexually assaulted, raped, or abused. And today we have a special guest that is going to be on our show. His name is George Brooks. Mr. George has lived with mental illness since the age of 7. That is a lot. That's a lot. He's experienced abuse. He's had weight loss surgery. You know, we might be related because you and I going on the same math. Um, he's dealt with addiction, divorce, custody battles. Mm. He is the mental health advocate, CEO, life coach, publisher, speaker, writer, and producer. Okay. Ah. We're going to invite George onto the show so we can get to know a little bit more about you. Come on in.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on. How are you today?
I am wonderful. You have a lot going on with you. I can't wait to dive in to learn more about you, your organization, and some of the things that you have gone through. I know with Unbreakable Faith, I have had my passion with Unbreakable Faith is with the youth and the young adults because of some of the things that you have went through as far as mental illness, starting at the age of 7. And could you tell us a little bit more about you?
Right. Well, name's George P. Brooks, originally from Memphis, Tennessee. Uh,
Oh,
I've gone through several uh, significant events in my life and significant circumstances, which led me ultimately to about 5, 6 years ago, starting a nonprofit called Meta Association.
mm,
And my faith was really important to me as far as getting to this point. In turn, and I have to say that's probably one of the biggest aspects of my life and my recovery was my faith, because I was the type that was always told I was going to be led to minister, and I ran from that for so long. I ran from God for so long, and yeah, I did. And in that journey, I studied a lot of different religions and different things and
mm,
different belief systems, and I feel like that led me to the point where I'm well rounded. But about 6 years ago, when I started my nonprofit, I was going through some things personally, and
mm,
I really solidified my faith in God and really developed my own unique relationship with God. And through that came Meta Association, and through that also came the realization of my purpose in life, which is God wants me to help people, especially Black men dealing with mental illness, addiction, recovery, fatherhood issues. So that's really my passion in life.
wow, wow. Share with us a little bit more in regards to this journey, how you got. You say it was in regards to your relationship with God. I understand that. I've been on that road,
Right,
saying, God, I'm not the one. You misunderstood. You know, I know it's plenty of Michelles in the world, but not this Michelle.
right. And
Oh my goodness.
that's kind of what I was what I was on in return in regards to my faith. About age 7, I started realizing, even at that age, that I responded to things differently emotionally.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and my parents were pretty active in terms of getting me help for it, and I'm blessed in that regard, especially being from a Black family at that time. There's a lot of hesitancy in terms of dealing with mental illness, and
Mm,
my family was pretty progressive, and I think that benefited me. So. Um, in dealing with some trauma and dealing with some things at a young age, I also developed an eating addiction. I was an emotional eater, so I was obese, and dealing with the mental illness and dealing with periods of extreme poverty. In my adolescent years, those were not easy. Going through junior high and high school, dealing with changing family dynamics, a lot of emotional instability. And one thing I also
Mhm.
found is that the education system was not equipped to deal with a child with a mental illness. They
That's
weren't.
right.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it was very backwoods thinking, very ignorant thinking, and uh, it didn't help me. So I made it through high school. I did not graduate,
Mhm.
but ended up going to college. Um, Spent my early adulthood trying to manage my mental illness, trying to work in Memphis, which is a difficult city to live in. Got married,
Mhm.
had have two boys. It's just it. You know, the funny thing, it all kind of now seems like a blur because I've lost track of time in that regard as far as things I went through. What I try to do is focus on the experiences and feelings that I had at different points in my life,
Mhm.
and really feel what I feel and try to use that pain and trauma to try to help other people, because I know that feeling of being a black man dealing with mental illness, fatherhood, and addiction, and not having resources to get the help that you need.
Yeah.
I remember one day when I really tried to embark upon my recovery, just trying to get things like medication, get my medication restarted, and there wasn't anyone that understood. And I don't want that for any other black male. I don't want that for my black community. I don't want that for any community. So this is just my way of trying to help people. This is the first step that I can take.
Wow. Wow. You've said a lot. Just like you, George, I went through a lot with being abused as a child.
Mhm.
Um, and so I understand where you're coming from when it comes down to each person's life is different, but I do have an understanding of people not understanding you when
Mhm.
you are going through a situation. And just like you said, the educational system, they teach you in college how to teach. They don't teach you how to sympathize or
Right,
empathize. They don't teach you that. They
right.
teach you how to teach. And when it comes down to a child that is dealing with some trauma in their lives, they do not, they just don't.
Yeah.
They don't understand it. And at that time, just like you, I had so much going on in my life that I just, like you said, it's just like you stepping on what you went through to be a thriver and push other people. Now you're a strong advocate. So tell me, how, what about, you had mentioned about the weight loss surgery? What did you do?
Well, I was like I said, I always dealt with obesity coming up, but I think in the eighth grade I weighed about 280. And I also had I have diabetes and some other physical conditions that were made worse by the weight. So about 20 years ago, I had weight loss surgery. And that was tremendous in terms of what it was able to do for me, because first of all, it saved my life. It was not
Mm,
cosmetic, it was not for vanity, it was to literally save my life, and it added years to it. And it's not always been easy, but I think I've taken a good advantage for it. You know, being 20
mhm.
years out and having pretty much kept the weight off is
That's
something.
good.
So yeah, it was great for me.
Mm. So, how did you get to where you are today? What are some of the steps that our viewers can actually learn from you on today? How did you get from this 7-year-old child dealing with mental health and going through middle school dealing with obesity? How did you get to where you are now?
A lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of mistakes on my part. Um, what really kind of got me to this point, and this is a journey that I'm still on, is one of accountability.
Mhm.
What I had to do in terms of especially my recovery from my mental health woes and the addiction to cocaine that I had for about 8 years, was looking at myself, and that's something I still do every day and have to do every day. Understanding that you can't control or be responsible for other people's actions.
Yeah,
All you can do is either accept them or not accept them.
right.
And one big thing right now is learning to establish my own boundaries, because due to the issues that I had socially, physically, economically, emotionally, spiritually coming up, I was a people pleaser. I was a person that felt like I had to give more of myself than what I was getting in, and that's always worked to my detriment. And I'm at a point like in my life now where I'm learning to put myself first and
Yeah,
put my needs first, because if I'm not fed, I won't have the strength to feed others. You know,
absolutely.
that took me a long time to not only recognize but accept and implement and manifest. And that's the journey that I'm on right now. And I actually have the opportunity to preach a sermon for the first time um, this week. So that's something that's on the horizon that I'm very, very happy about. I think it will assist me in being able to fulfill what my purpose and what I feel God's purpose is for me, which is really try to help people. So if I really went through every step of how I got to this point, this would be the longest podcast ever. But the most important thing to remember is that I feel that all we have to offer as God's children is our testimony.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. That's how you get to where you are. That's
Right.
how you get there. I mean, no, people believe when you're real. You know,
Right.
when you are real, they listen to you when you're real. They know when someone's not real. And
Right.
I believe telling people my testimony and sharing with them, what I've been through. I believe in saying that I'm not fearful of it. I was that vulnerable young lady at one time.
Mhm.
But I'm glad that you are a strong male. You're strong enough, to actually go out there and face other men and tell them it's okay. You can make it. You can make it.
Right.
So yeah,
But
I'm glad.
yeah, because one thing I try to teach my brothers, especially, is that we have to start to try to heal from things. We have to accept the fact that we do have trauma, we do have issues, and it's a hard process. But we have to try to heal because it's affecting our economic status, it's affecting our relationships, our families, our communities, and most importantly, it's affecting our pockets. Black men are the most ostracized, demonized group in the world. We're often judged, we're stigmatized, things like that. So, in order to really get to a point where we can take our true standing in the world, we have to heal our issues first. And I'm kind of making myself the poster board for that because I have a lot of issues. And but I'm enjoying the process and the healing that I'm getting from embarking on this process. And I just want to bless others with it. That's basically it. Also, I want to get paid for it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, that part.
Yeah, that's the part. See, here's the thing. Here's what I didn't figure out for a long time. I had the purpose. I wanted to do the work, but I was having a hard time feeding myself. And
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. That's what
right.
I'm working on a public speaking career. I'm looking for paid speaking gigs. I'm looking to work with my nonprofit. If we can learn to marry our healing with a way that's going to, enfranchise us economically, then we got something going. But we got
Oh
to get
yeah.
to that point. So I'm just real about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with you. That's good. That's good. Yeah, we got the passion, but it's good to get the moolah. Give it a bags too.
I got to now. I can't do it any other way. I did it the other way
Uh,
for too long.
yeah, absolutely. I was always told the thing that you would do for free, that's your passion. The
I
thing
take
that
it a
you
step
would do
further.
for free.
I ask people, what's the one thing you would actually pay somebody to let you do?
Hmm.
What's something that you would invest in, not only as far as your time, your spirit, your energy, your heart, but even economically to do? What's something that you feel that strongly about?
Mm,
And once you figure that out, then that's what you go for. You
yes.
don't have a plan B, but that's what you go for.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. So tell me about you said that you are a writer. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've worked in the past couple of years. I've worked on some film projects, some things like that. I'm working on a book. That's just with the year I've had. That's something I'm letting matriculate naturally. I've always been a writer. I think I'm good at it, and that let me know that it's another avenue that God gave me to help people. Uh,
Hmm.
the way that I'm able to communicate, and I realize that blessing. So any avenue that I can use that will reach people, that will resonate with people, I'm going to use it. So I love writing. It's one of the things I love to do. So, I'm just using my blessings because my mother told me one time, if you don't use your blessings, she thinks that's a sin.
Ooh, wow.
She always
Okay.
felt like something that people don't think is a sin is having a blessing, having a gift, and not using it in some way. So
Wow.
that's just what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So how long has Meta Association been how long have you had this association?
I started. God gave me the idea on July 18th. No, July. I remember the date. I think it's July 20th, 2018. And
Okay.
at that point in my heart, it was born. And I started building it, doing it correctly, registered 501c3, making sure that legally everything was correct, so that we could process without that albatross around our neck. So it's important. I will tell my people when we start businesses, let's set them up the right way legally. So
That's
that
right.
allows a lot of latitude, because a lot of times we kind of half do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Once you follow your purpose, you have to follow it the right way. You have to follow it with zeal. You have to follow it in a way that's going to allow it to fully flourish and prosper. So I started it about 5 years ago, and it's been an interesting journey. We survived the pandemic. We've been able to do things sporadically, but I know
Mm-hmm.
2024 is going to be a big year for us. We got
Yeah.
programs. I've got my board of directors in place. I got a wonderful board in place, and we're going to be meeting between now and the end of the year to really solidify our plans for 2024 to make an impact on people, to come out. And I want to thank you for allowing me on here, because this allows me an opportunity to work toward that, to foster that. So
That's
thank you.
right. That's great. You're a strong advocate for the men, and I love that
Right.
about you. Do you have a lot of men that actually um, that come up to you and say some things to you on a personal level? Like, some men they let their ego get in the way. You know what I mean?
Right.
So do you
Right.
do you have men that when you talk with them, do they like a Nicodemus coming to Jesus at midnight?
A lot of times, yeah.
Mhm.
Usually, and I get those responses, but I found, I think my biggest audience really, or from what I can tell, is women, because women are the key to helping our men heal.
Mhm.
And my message tends to resonate with women, and that's how I try to do my own personal ministry toward men, is through the woman, because we as Black people have lost our way in terms of our relationship with our women.
Mhm.
We really
Mhm.
have to get ourselves straight. So I found that, I think women bring a lot of men to my message.
Mhm.
I have a few brothers that really resonate. That my message really resonates with. So I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean, I don't hear too much from men, but I know the impact is there. I know it's felt. But I really hear,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. And in terms of Black men healing, women have to understand their place in it and the role that they play. And that's why I'm glad my message kind of reaches both genders, in a good way.
Okay. But that is great. I totally agree with you when it comes down to we as women. A lot of times, the Bible says to be slow to speak and quick to listen. And sometimes, women, we get to going and chapping, and here it is. You have um, this man. Well, I'll use my husband. My husband, he's a sweet man, and some days he's just not having a good day, and I have to observe, not say anything, but just observe his body language before I say anything. And it is so good that you're able to reach the women as well, and be able to have them to check themselves, you
Right,
know?
right.
Yeah, let them
We
check themselves.
need more of that. And you know, I feel like for Black men, especially, to really facilitate our healing, we have to have relationships where we feel safe being
Yeah.
vulnerable and expressing a lot of what's on our heart. And like, I know personally, that's a big thing with me. I have to be surrounded with people that I feel emotionally safe with. And if when men don't feel that, that's when you have a lot of problems, as far as us internalizing things, not dealing with things. So one thing I try to encourage women to do is to be more sensitive when a man wants to come to you and be vulnerable. Don't judge him. Don't And especially don't weaponize it. If a man confides something to you, don't turn it against him when you get mad, because
Hmm.
that'll, and that happens so much, and that's something that'll kill trust. uh
Absolutely. There are men that go right back into the cocoon.
right,
Um,
or find somebody else.
Yeah, it's just hard. It's a process for women to learn that. It's a process for them to learn that. I know I don't you don't see that now, but I was one of those women who had a mouth. It
Mhm.
was horrible too. But I was a young girl, at that time, and I spoke my mind in regards to how I felt about you. But I thank God that He's changed all that around. and
Right.
I'm able to observe now, sit back and process before I say anything. I'm not perfect, no, but I believe in what you're saying as far as the men. Men need us to be there and not throw it back in their face.
Right.
You know, it can happen. It can happen where you're throwing it back in their face, and then they just go back into the cocoon, or either like you said, they'll just move right on, because you do deal with hurt. How do you address the mental illness that's going on in the world today?
Um, wow. I think because the pandemic is it's not that it's happening any more than it ever has in history. It's just it's more apparent. We can
Hmm.
see it more with the advent of social media. People are more vocal about it. But I'm glad that we are starting to address it in our community. Not that I'm negating any other community, but I got to take care of home before I help somebody next door. And
Absolutely.
I'm proud of the fact that, especially in the Black church, I'm seeing a lot of progression in terms of having discussions about mental illness. That's
Yeah, that's good.
so I'm looking to do more work with churches and speak in more churches. And I'm actually going to ministerial school next month because I really want to explore that. But people are like, well, you didn't hear about this and this and that years ago. Well, here's the thing: now people are starting to talk about it.
Yeah, so that's where we go from. We take it from that step.
Yeah, and that's why we got an opportunity now to do a lot of healing because, especially in Black families, I mean, we all got them family secrets. We all maybe had that big mama or something that was the matriarch of the family who, despite their best intentions and regardless of the circumstances, may not have done everything the right way emotionally for us and for our development. And we can't help that, but what we can do is endeavor to heal and progress from that point and not blame, but understand the circumstances in which we are brought up and raised and just recognize the fact those may have not been the best ways.
Absolutely. I love that. I say that all the time. People ask me, how do I forgive the people who violated me? I look at it from that point.
Right.
Something happened in their life, and they tried to do, my parents tried to do the best that they could. My dad, they always say, your dad, and I tell my story. But I love my dad. I love my dad to this day. My dad's 73 years old. My dad didn't do everything right. He didn't know, he
Right.
didn't have his father. So he
And this
didn't know.
and as a father and a man, that's something I'm going through right now. I'm realizing I've accepted the fact I'm not perfect, that I'm a work in progress.
Hmm.
Thing is to find and surround yourself with people that respect their process and that are willing to walk that with you. And that's not easy to find. That's not easy to find. So you have to resign yourself to realizing that life can be lonely, that you may not have family, you
Yeah,
may not have a support system, but you
yeah.
just got to do the best you can. But you got to continue to work on yourself also, and that's the hard part.
Always, always. So you mentioned earlier that you have two boys. How old are they, and how do you work with them as
Oh,
being males?
my boys are 13 and 19. My
Hmm?
19-year-old is bipolar, and
Okay.
he was diagnosed. His kind of matriculated about age 7. And when I first was told that, I was scared because I knew what he would face, and
Mm,
definitely had some challenges. And but at 19, he's learned. He just turned 19 last week. He's really trying to work hard to develop coping mechanisms and things in place for his life that are going
mm,
to make him successful by watching me and all the mistakes I made. That's the thing as a father. Our kids not only learn from what we teach them, they learn from observing our mistakes. And
yes.
I'm proud of him for endeavoring upon that now. I have a younger son
Mm,
who's doing very well. But in the back of my mind, I have to make sure I address their mental and emotional health to
mhm,
provide what they need. I feel like as a father, my job is prepare them for the day that I'm no longer here.
mm.
So
That is wonderful.
that's the greatest inheritance I give to my son. So I love being a father. I think I'm a good father. I've always been close to my boys, so that's a big part of my personal ministry and my nonprofit. We also try to encourage healthy fatherhood as well because that's something that's lacking in our communities.
Absolutely.
Big proponent of co-parenting. My ex-wife, we didn't work out, but she's a great mother, a great co-parent. I have no worries. I just called her this morning to, tell her thank you for being a great co-parent, and things like that. So through our own healing, we can better facilitate those kind of relationships that really not only benefit our children and community, but on a personal level, they can enrich us as well. So it's about trying to make your life come full circle. And that's really, really hard because we have things we can't control, people we can't control, and circumstances we can't control. But through our faith and resilience and things like that, we can try to just live a good life.
Absolutely. So tell me, what is your love language? Words of affirmation, your physical touch? Do you do gifts? What is that? What does that look like? What are you teaching your boys as far as that goes? Because I know you mentioned there, we all make mistakes. So what do you teach them as far as their love language and how they treat people?
Right. Well, I'm very physically affectionate. I'm a Pisces. I'm a left-handed Pisces. I don't know what that may mean to some of your viewers, but I'm a very physically affectionate guy. I love very hard. I'm really big on loyalty. I'm really big on transparency. I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm all that corny stuff. And I think with my boys, what they say they picked up from me is really about chivalry. I believe in opening
Mm,
doors, and I believe I'm old school like that. And they picked it up from me. Um, Even though I've made some mistakes in my life in terms of how I may have handled people and how they handle me, I always resolve myself to try to be a good person.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They picked it up me, picked it up for me. But my love language is very strong.
Mm,
Um, I'm not afraid to show emotion and show affection. I'm a big hugger. I feel like that's important. Now, while my sons also get their structure from me, a certain amount of rigidity, we have to start teaching our boys to be not necessarily vulnerable, but learn to be expressive. Because
yeah,
a lot of us mean is we don't know how to articulate or communicate our feelings. So that's
yeah.
us a lot of times. And you have to have that ebb and flow in terms of feeling things, expressing them, when to hold back. It's a balance. And we have to find that within ourselves, not only for our mental health, but for our emotional health as well.
Mm. What are some of that is great. What are some of your favorite mental health resources, such as books, podcasts, people, apps? What are some of your places that you reach out and go to encourage yourself? Because I know working and doing this ministry, because that's what it is,
Mhm.
you have to actually fill yourself back up, you know?
Right. And that's something I didn't do until literally, really, really solidified in my mind until a few days ago, honestly. Um,
Mm,
I'm a strong advocate for self care. For a long time, I never took downtime. I never rested. I never decompressed. And I've learned to do that because that allows me a chance to physically and spiritually rejuvenate myself. I have to be surrounded by people that are filling my cup because
ah,
me, my nature is I can't help but fill others' cups. If I see someone in need, I feel like I have to do something. So it's best that I surround myself with people that fulfill me emotionally. Um,
mm-hmm,
so that's an important thing. Is mostly just surrounding yourself with positive things, doing your research, following your interests, following your passions, but just make sure that you create the safest, most nurturing environment for yourself, and don't rely on others to do that for you. So
mm.
this is really the most valuable resources: is self introspection, prayer, patience, and just having a goal. So that's really my best resources, really within myself. I just now realize everything I need is within me,
All
and
right.
I just try to seek that out and really trying to develop that as best I can.
That is awesome. So you mentioned earlier that you are going to go to school.
Right.
Are you going to seminary or are you going to a regular college? Where are you going?
I'm going to a program. I think it's through Potter's House.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and my pastor, I asked him about it, and he's a strong advocate for it. And it was weird that just at this point in my life, I'm actually doing this. I've been told that all my life that was going to be a calling for me, and I kind of felt it on and off over the years, but now I'm really being thrust into things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this year has been a really hard year for me, and um, I said my goal was by the end of the year to start really building my foundation for 2024 in the future. And I'm really, it's weird how things happen, but I really feel like I'm on that path now, and that's a blessing to me. So
Absolutely.
forward to the
I,
future.
I, I, I look at it like this: when you have so many things that's going on, there's a bigger picture.
Mhm.
It's a wider view. God has to do the pruning, and that pruning process hurts. It really does. It hurts.
Right.
And people don't realize that we get this cliche about, um, you know, you see my glory, but you don't know my story. And
Right.
people take it and they throw it out there as that cliche, but it's true. In order for us to be successful, we have to go through that pruning process.
Right.
And for this year, it sounds like to me that you've learned a whole lot in 2023. It sounds like to me that you're like, okay, God, I got it. Okay, 2024, here we come. You're going to hit the floor running. So that's great. I'm glad. I'm
Right.
excited for you. I'm excited to see what you are going to do. That is great.
Right. So yeah, it's been a journey, and I've got some things going on personally. I'm working through right now. I think I have a clear focus of the best way for me to fulfill God's purpose for me and enrich myself.
Mm,
And I just want to try to spread that energy to people. Even on my hard days, I have some very difficult days, but I try to just keep the things that are important to me in focus, and it helps me
yeah.
get rough moments. So I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to really raising my profile, doing a lot of public speaking, doing my work in the ministry, doing my nonprofit, doing everything I got going in a way that where what makes me happy is when I hear from someone that says your words help me, or,
Yes, yes,
or
yes.
perspective, and that's really the thing is I just got to get paid doing it.
That's good. So, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Ooh, um, financially prospering, financially secure,
Yep.
but uh, just living my purpose. There's some personal goals I have for myself. I do hope to be married at that point. That's
Okay.
a goal for me.
Okay. You might get some DMs after the day. Okay.
Well, I'm kind of working on some with somebody, and
Okay.
I'm not trying to overshare, but that's something that's been important to me. I've always wanted to have a family. I've always wanted to be a husband,
Oh,
and that's
okay.
that, I was married before and it didn't work out, and that's fine. And I've had relationships and they didn't work out, and it's fine. But I'm looking for
Mhm.
something real. I'm looking for a partnership. That's what's important to me, and having a family because I've gone through states where I haven't had that, and right now I really don't. And I'm looking for something real to solidify myself. And I think that'll once I attain that, that'll help me in my ministry a lot more. That'll help me in my purpose. So,
Mm.
but right now I got to focus on me. So in 5 years, I see myself hopefully at that point, continuing to work, having expanded my nonprofit, having really made an impact, and continuing to do so.
Awesome, awesome. Actually, I was married before too. My daughter's dad and I, we get along. My husband and him get along. People are just like, how I know. Listen, it didn't work. It's okay, you
Yes, okay.
know. And then you just they have a good relationship. All of us, we have a great relationship,
Yeah,
and it's okay. So
yeah.
I'm in the hoops with you that it's gonna work out in 5 years. I'm gonna hear about Mr. Brooks.
Yeah.
Mr. Brooks is getting married and everything else. I'm gonna see it across the limelight. I'll be like, okay, here we go.
we'll just kind of see. I'm kind of playing it by ear and taking my time. One thing I had to learn because I have bipolar disorder, and
Okay.
even at 45, I'm learning to manage that, and everything's coming together. And the thing
Tell
I
us a little bit about that. How do
wow,
you handle that bipolar? A lot of people say that. So tell us a little bit about the bipolar. How did you, like you mentioned your 19-year-old has it, and you're saying that you have it as well. How did you find out? What are the signs? What do you do to start taking control over that or working through that?
right. Well, bipolar disorder, first of all, is categorized as mood swings, and I'll try to make this as simple as possible, and I'll give you a real talk about what it's like. You have extreme. You can have extreme swings in moods, going from extremely up or manic to very low depression. And the thing is, you may do what's called cycling, where you may feel very energetic, very optimistic one moment, and could be down in the dumps the next. And the challenge in that is that With your moods not being stable, it makes it really hard to function. And it makes the where things that happen to you in life, especially that hurt you or emotional, can throw you into a very bad state. When you're manic, sometimes you can be hypersexual. Uh,
Mm,
you can run into agitation. That's when a lot of times people with bipolar disorder get into legal problems. From
mm.
depression, it may come to where you cannot function for a month. I think my longest depression was about a year.
Wow.
It, it,
Oh
I,
my gosh.
yeah, it lasted a whole year.
Mm,
Tremendous. So it just really depends. And even with medication and therapy and things like that, it's still going to flare up. It's a health condition. I'm also a type 1 diabetic. And I treat it the same in the sense that there are things that can cause me to have exacerbations in my mental health. So
mm-hmm.
I try to avoid those and process those. So it can be debilitating. One
Oh
thing,
wow.
yeah, it can. I mean, it was always hard for me to hold down regular employment being bipolar because I can be okay for a while.
Right, right, right.
That throws me off. Well, then that doesn't go well for dealing with being at work every day. So that's why I'm trying to do things where I don't have to punch a clock, but still fulfill myself economically. But what it
Right.
feels like for me when I'm manic, racing thoughts. It's not that
Mm.
I'm hearing voices. It's not that I'm psychotic. It's not like I'm talking to bus stops. It's just that the racing thoughts don't slow down. They makes it hard to focus. So what I'm learning to do now and endeavoring to do is to try to take breaks and surround myself with people that are let this slow down just enough where I can rest because it's extremely hard to focus when you're dealing with bipolar disorder.
That's
And
a lot. Ooh,
it's a
that's
lot.
a
It's
lot.
exhausting. It's exhausting. And I think that I'm getting better articulating that with people and it can be really bad. I mean, it can be really bad. I mean, in the past, I have, like I said, I've suffered with addiction for 8 years. I've had suicide attempts. I've had, some were serious, some were more so cries for help. It's just been a
Mm.
mix of things with me, and I
Wow.
really, right, especially right now with some things I'm going through, I have to take things day by day, and
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
have to take goals for the future, but I have to endeavor every day differently and be prepared for that. So that's the thing too. Plus managing everything I'm trying to do. It's a challenge. It's tiring. It's exhausting, but I absolutely love it. Absolutely
Wow.
love it. I'm
You are
loving.
a strong man. You are a strong man. You're a very strong man. I mean, like you holding it down. I love your honesty. I love your reality and how you can explain this. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I mean, I'm so glad that you're open and willing to talk about what you're going through and how you have overcome so many different things and that it's all right to share. It's okay so that somebody else can know they're not alone.
Right, and that's
That's
and,
good.
yeah, because people tell me they're like George. I don't know how you get up there and talk about all your business like that. Well, here's the thing. I went through it for a reason. And if I sit up here and don't say anything and don't say things that could cause judgment on me, because I don't care what people think about me, I really don't.
Mhm.
But you have to put yourself out there to help people.
Mhm.
Nobody, no great man has ever made change. Not saying I'm a great man, but no great man has ever implemented any kind of change by being silent.
Mm,
And
mm, mm, mm.
myself, I'm willing to talk about how I was at a point I was hanging out in trap houses snorting cocaine because I wasn't dealing with the stuff that was really bothering me. And I have to unravel that process and say where I've been and say what I'm going through and say what I'm feeling. It's just important to me as I make this transition in life that I surround myself with people that bring me peace.
I
So now
love it.
feel they cup, they can feel mine. That's what I'm all about right now in my personal relationships.
You
So
are, you and I are like on the, Melissa will tell you, like, I do the same thing. I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to tell you. As a matter of fact, I have a speaking engagement tomorrow.
wow, okay,
And yeah,
congratulations.
so yeah, I'm speaking to a group of women about their vision and their purpose.
Right,
And
right.
they asked me to come and share my testimony because of what I did at a ladies workshop. And it was like, more women need to hear about that. And it is so true. You and I'm the female, and you're the male of it. I tell you, we got a team thing going. Um, I don't know how she feel, but I'm about to pull her out of the hole. Melissa, do you want to come on? I see you back there. She has been wiping her eyes, and I want Melissa to come on and share with us what's going
God.
on with the baby girl.
I think this whole podcast was actually just for me today.
Okay, okay.
I can't be the only person out here. Literally, I'm a hot mess back here. I've been crying for half of
I
this.
know. I seen you.
I relate so much to a lot of the things you brought to the table today, George. I also am bipolar,
Okay.
and was diagnosed that. Well, it started with anxiety when I was like 12,
Yeah.
and then I think it was like around 16, 18 years old, bipolar came up. And it is, like you said, it's so exhausting. It is so exhausting. And to the racing thoughts and the up, the down, it's debilitating. It's like a mental period, if you can relate to that. But man, there were so many great things you said during this interview that I related to. I love that you said how you minister to men, but through the women. I haven't been to church since COVID, and I also went through this whole journey of all kinds of different churches and trying to find God myself. I grew up Catholic, and then when I got old enough to go on my own, I went through all kinds of different. I did Buddhist and Lutheran, and I did Wicca. I did Hindu. I did it all. Like, but I did land in a good Christian church here in Charlotte. And I remember one of the sermons that our pastor was given was talking about how the woman is the rock and the Ebenezer or whatever. The woman is supposed to be the rock for the man to keep the man strong so he can go out and do the work.
Right. Right now, I'm looking for my rock. I'm looking for my rock. I'm not lying. Yeah.
But you guys did an amazing interview today. I did not expect at all to be like this. I'm sitting here cheering and giving you guys snaps, and I'm like, that's me too. So you guys, you are the female. Michelle, you are the woman, and George, you are the man. You guys are.
He really is.
So many more people like you guys out here. For real. And
we're gonna have to get together, George, and we're gonna have to do another workshop. We're gonna have to put a workshop together.
After the show, we can do some workshops and maybe do some speaking. Yeah.
You and I, we don't mind telling the truth. We're gonna get out there. We're gonna tell. I'm not ashamed. Melissa will tell you, like, girl.
and it's the thing. That's not everybody can't be called to do what we do.
No.
Yeah.
And that was something else you said too, George and Michelle, both of you guys said that, like, the world needs real mental health is a humongous issue. It's been for my whole life, but it's an extreme epidemic going on, especially for our youth right now. And the world that they have to face is a lot different than the one that we grew up in and our parents grew up in. I think you guys would be fantastic at doing work, like a co-workshop. Oh, I'm excited. I think you guys are a perfect team, honestly, and you complement each other beautifully. And again, I'm so blessed that I got to be like part of this. I hope everybody watches this. I'm definitely going to be sharing it out. You guys dropped a golden nugget on the world today. So thank you.
George, Melissa, listen, I'm going to tell you something. When Melissa gets like this, George, she's my marketing person. Yeah. When she gets like this, it is on and popping. We getting ready to start doing something real fast. I'm going to tell you.
Let's do some things and get paid while we do it.
Exactly. That part, right?
So we got to wrap it up here. So listen, what are your final thoughts that you want to leave with our listeners? What are some things you want to leave with our listeners?
Let's try to be better to one another. Let's try to, when we encounter people, put ourselves in people's shoes and think deeper than what we always see on the surface. And when we encounter, incidents with people that aren't always pleasant, try to think about what that person is going through.
Yes.
Try to empathize more with people. Try to understand more. Try to really treat people the way we want to be treated. And if we can do that on an individual level, not only will it help out in terms of mental health, it'll help out in terms of the world as a whole.
The ripple effect, right?
Yeah, ripple effect. You can do that really once you start to take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, take care of your spirit, take care of your body, be married to the process, and you'll be okay.
All right. That's good advice. That's wonderful advice. How can our listeners support you in what you're doing? What are your handles so Melissa can put it up there for them to support you.
All right. Well, you can reach me and my nonprofit Meta Association at 901-631-4300. If you want to book me for a speaking engagement, I'm looking for paid engagement, but call me. We can negotiate. Working with my nonprofit Meta Association, which we hope to have a new site up in the next week or so. Really going to be doing some things in my hometown of Memphis and where I live in Dallas. Really trying to help my hometown out because it desperately needs it. But you can see me on Facebook at George P. Brooks. There's a Meta Association group also on Facebook. You can reach me on Instagram at meta.association. And like I said, just shoot me a text, give me a call. We can collaborate. I'm looking to expand and try to do great things, not only to help other people to help continue my healing. I'm just an open book. So anything I can do to help someone, just reach out and I'll do the best I can.
What is that number again? I think we're missing one number, Melissa.
Okay, that's okay. 901-631-4300.
4,300. Okay.
And we also are we're looking at really implementing a good donation program because with nonprofits, we have to have donations too.
Yes, absolutely.
So
yes.
if you want, you can Cash App us at $ Meta Association on Cash App. Even $1 helps. It helps cover things like my expenses, what I need to do in terms of running the nonprofit.
Absolutely.
Grant writers. We're looking to do this in an appreciable, meaningful, substantial way. So your help and support is needed and appreciated.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, George, for being a part of the show. I can't wait till we get together again and we do a workshop. It's around the corner. So listen out for us to reach back out to you, and we're going to come together and we're going to put this thing together. I am so honored to be in your presence today.
Thank you. As I am you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I thank you from me also. Seriously, I did not expect all this, and I feel like my cup is overflowing.
Wow.
So thank you both of you. I didn't know I needed this today, but I did. So
that is good.
I also hope I get to work with you in the future as well. All of us.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hey, I'm the type I make friends quickly for some reason. So once I connect with people, hey, I'm down with you. So just reach out to me anytime.
Awesome.
Yes, you might need Melissa to help you out with your marketing. She does all the marketing. So all the videos you see, all that stuff you see, that's Melissa. That's not me. That's Melissa.
Hey, let's get to work. Let's do it. It
takes a village, right? We all got to work together. It takes a village to get the message out, right?
Yes, it takes a village. Thank you so much, George, for coming on again. We look forward to talking to you real soon.
Thank you. And you all have a blessed day.
You too. Bye.